Today I'm driving through my current hometown of St. Thomas to give you a close-up look at what this economic crisis looks like from a factory up for lease, or rather a building for sale. One's a manufacturing plant. Another one over on this side. Actually, I'll come back and show you that one. Here is the Sterling truck plant. Just went out of business, closed. Hey, so the reality in St. Thomas is businesses, because of the disaster, are closing faster than we can actually keep up with them. So I'm just going to do a brief tour of downtown St. Thomas. There's a mall in there. It's kind of depressing there right now. Some closed businesses to the right. All up for sale. Lease. Some more over on this side. Tell a store that was actually in only a few weeks ago. I noticed that it is now closed. That was also our downtown Purelator depot. It's kind of sad, actually. Many people around here are quite depressed these days. Cars up for sale everywhere. Pretty much every day there's either some business closing, some factory laying people off, or shutting people down, or shutting down, I should say. The unfortunate part of all this is a lot of people are stuck because a fairly significant percentage of the town seems to be up for sale right now. Even if you do manage to get your house sold, it's not going to be anywhere near what it was, or what you paid for it, or probably even what you owe on it.
Now, as 2008, 2009, 2010 hit, things just got worse and worse and worse for St. Thomas. Industries were shutting down, businesses were shutting down, people were selling their homes, people were losing their homes, people were selling everything they could just to stay afloat, and it seemed like this ever ending black hole would not stop.
Do you remember a time when the younger generation, or when you were young, when people were actually ashamed to be from St. Thomas?
Yeah, man. I remember being really young, probably 13, 14. Social media was Facebook was just kind of becoming a big thing, or MySpace. People were putting on social media that they weren't even from this town. And some of our biggest idols growing up that had actually made it out of this town, they wouldn't even put that they were from St. Thomas. They put that they were from London. So then we would even see that, and we would be like, okay, if they don't think it's cool, it's clearly not cool to be from St. Thomas. And that's kind of what we thought back then.
So what do you think that was? What do you think was so bad about the city that people were ashamed to even be associated with the city?
Man, it was just there was this stigma, small town, everybody knows each other, drugs, high teen pregnancy, that type of thing. That was all associated to this town. After back in the day, this was the place. It was booming in the 30s, and then it just kind of it crashed, and then it went from one of the most amazing hotspots to be to this place that everyone was ashamed to be in, and it was just this little junky city. It's crazy.
Thanks, man.
So forgive my facts, but as far as I understand it, St. Thomas predated London by several years. London was an encampment for Talbot's troops at the fork of the Thames.
Okay.
And he set up here the Talbot settlement, or Talbotville. He had his own house here. Unfortunately, it has since fallen down. That's another controversy altogether. But St. Thomas was a big and huge, thriving community. We had a bigger train station than New York City. Okay? We were, until they built the Erie Canal, we were the train hub of North America. Nothing anywhere in North America without passing through St. Thomas.
Now, remember when I first got here, St. Thomas, and and something like this right behind me right here, Saint T t-shirts, it would have been a joke to walk down the street and see individuals repping their city like this, proud to be from their city, right? And it baffled me, and it was confusing when I first got here, because I was coming from a third world country where, economically, it's almost impossible to make it in life, right? So the only dream in that particular city is to save up enough money for a plane ticket that one family member could actually come to Canada or the US and make a life, so you could bring the rest of the family members. That's the dream. The dream is just save up enough money for one ticket. It's not the mansion, it's not retiring rich, it's not the cars. It's to just somehow, within your lifetime, for one family member to come here and make a life, make a dream come true.
Now here's an interesting thing that a lot of people may not realize about life, okay? We tend to normalize any circumstance we're living in. So if we're living in the bad, if we're living in a very messed up society, we sometimes normalize that society, that neighborhood, and we start thinking it's normal. And it goes vice versa. If we're living in an amazing lifestyle, an amazing neighborhood, we start thinking this is how life is, and we take for granted how blessed we are.
Well, I was 7 years old when my dad decided we needed to come to Canada. He was a tradesman in England and could find work, but it was not the kind of work he wanted at the pay rate he wanted. So he packed up his wife and 5 kids, and over we came. 1966. My parents were excited, but I remember my mom crying a lot. She understood that it was a new adventure, and they wanted to make life better, like most immigrants do. They wanted to make life better for their family, and she understood. We were really looking forward to it. My father's youngest brother and my aunt were at the boat to see us off. My granddad was going to be there, but he had a heart attack on the train coming to Southampton to see us off, which it's not a great way for my parents to leave the country, but we had to leave. For the first couple of days, it was a great adventure. Then it became seasick. Not so pleasant, but I remember the ship was just so large. The SS Franconia. It was a Cunard ship. Dad was talking about immigrating the one time when my Aunt Jenny was over, and she said, "Well, if you decide to do it, we've got a big house. We can put you up until you can find work." So my dad and I had some difficulties when I was a teenager, and I resented a lot of the things that he did. I look back on it now, and I'm thinking, what a jerk I was. He gave up his whole life in England, all his friends, his family, for his children. So he wasn't a young man. He came over with 5 kids and a wife and nothing, a few clothes in a trunk. And I can't imagine doing anything close to that now. I think back on that now, and I'm just, oh my God, why was I such a jerk? He loved this country. It gave him a good life. It gave his kids a good life. He loved this community. He passed a few years ago. Miss him. I see what this country is and what it can be. Immigrants make a really big impact on our community, and without them, our community wouldn't be what it is.
And right here is.
And top of that, as far as immigrants are concerned, we are concerned with the racism and inequality. But by moving to this community, I was a little scared initially, but after that, when I start merging with these people are wonderful people. After that, I never had any problem in the last 8, 9, 10 years. I'm running my business. I meet everybody. I do all the chambers, commerce of meeting and all that stuff. But everybody is so sporting. I never even sense any instance of racism. Not feel, but even not sense anything here. So that's a great thing. This part of the country. Canada overall is very beautiful, but this part of the country, I have never even sensed the thing if somebody has in their mind. That's so beautiful here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a black dude
Yeah.
in St. Thomas.
Yeah.
How do you like it?
I love it.
How'd you get to the city?
I get to the city, my wife brought me here. Yeah, I met my wife and she lived here and she brought me to the city and I love it here. Nice and quiet, peaceful. Can leave my car open, nobody breaks into it.
That's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Man, that's amazing. That's the first thing I realized about the city, you know, because it's like ain't no possible way you could leave your door and car open in bigger cities like Toronto or
Exactly. You can walk down the streets late hours of the night. Nobody's gonna mob you or nothing like that. So I love it here. Peaceful, nice place to go. Your kids. Yeah.
and to build a future in this city. Do you think that's possible?
It is possible, but I think we need a few more factories in the city with all these houses going up.
Yeah.
More factories will be ideal. Yeah.
Okay, dope, man. And any last words?
Yeah, I would tell anybody to come to St. Thomas. It's a pretty nice place.
So it's almost like the more different I was, is the more the people in the city embraced me because they wanted to learn about my culture. And that's the first time I ever really experienced something like that, where somebody's actually, you know, I'm in a city where people are actually interested and excited to learn about where I'm coming from, what kind of food I have, what kind of traditions and cultures I have. So
It may not be the city may not be in a spot where you want it to be. The country may not be in a way where you wish it was, but that's your city and that's your country, and you rep it to the death. You know, that's how I was raised. That's how my mentality is. So every single city or every single country I always lived in, it was like, that's my city. Because this city right here is the reason why I'm alive today, you know what I mean? So I gotta rep it to the death, you know? It's not just concrete and buildings, it's actually life.
Hey, Dad!
We're gonna take it to the top, baby.
How are we gonna do this?
We're gonna take it to the top,
We have to let the
baby.
people know that they can't stop me.
We're gonna take it to the top, baby. It's like this. We're gonna take it to the top, baby. You can't fool me. We're gonna take it to the top, baby. You can't stop me. We're gonna take it to the top.
It's about time. It's time to remind ourselves what we have. It's time we face the challenges and celebrate the positives. It's time to tell the world about
Forest City Castings, where innovation and quality workmanship relit the Statue of Liberty after Hurricane Sandy, and where pride in our community is demonstrated each and every day. Gorman Rupp, the world's best pump manufacturer, has been in St. Thomas for over 55 years, with high quality outside and in.
Oh, hi, Sean.
Company that farms, processes, and delivers more than 3/4 of the trout in Ontario. Local beer, spreading our brand across the province. Takumi Stamping, using Japanese innovation to stamp out parts for the new RAV4 on a 200-ton progressive press. A unique and diverse railway heritage. A railway heritage that gave us this amazing statue. A community that stands behind causes that really matter. It's our hospital. All this less than 15 minutes from Canada's busiest highway and most important trade route. And 15 minutes to one of our country's best beaches with year-round activities for all ages. Are there challenges? Yes. Is there work to do? Definitely. But we have a team dedicated to improving the quality of life in St. Thomas. I'm Sean Dyke, and we are the St. Thomas Economic Development Corporation. And we are
St. Thomas proud.
It's time to tell the world about St. Thomas.
I'm St. Thomas proud.
St. Thomas proud. I'm St. Thomas proud.
And I'm St. Thomas proud.
We're St. Thomas proud.
And I'm St. Thomas proud.
And I'm St. Thomas proud.
Are you?
Sometimes it's a lot softer on the ears to hear how great something is if it's coming from somebody else that's not attached to that particular city or individual, right? So when I first got here, I said to myself, you know what? There has to be a way. There has to be a way to bring some type of energy and passion back into the city, right? So I said to myself, you know what? It was interesting because at that time I was trying to finish off my album, and there was like one song I needed to record. So I was driving down Highbury, and I seen a billboard that said hashtag St. Thomas Proud. And once I seen that billboard, I started just freestyling in my head, you know, lyrics. And by the time I got home, I already wrote the song. Like it took me like probably 5 minutes to write the song. I already wrote the song, and I just went into the booth and I dropped the song. You know, called St. Thomas Proud.
If love is a game, then I wanna play. If love is a role, then I'll be the driver. If love had a call,
St. Thomas,
then I'm gonna pay. If love is a child,
#1 city, baby.
I'm willing to take till I get to you.
I'm coming home, baby. Yeah.
Till I get to you.
I'm coming home, baby. St. Thomas,
Till I get to you.
embrace your own. Come on. Yeah. Rest in peace, Jumbo. You died for the cause. Pause. That's the real definition of balls. Pause. This ain't you. I thought you knew. Homo, the first legalized medical school. 26 railways. They're passing it through. Pinning for parking, waterworks, something to do. Rachel McAdams, yes, she's born and raised. Hashtag St. Thomas Pride, Malichi says. We're gonna see another. We're gonna get another. We're gonna see another.
If love is a game, then I wanna play. If love is a goal, then I'll be the driver. If love has a cause, then I'm gonna play. If love is a child, I'm willing to take till I get to you.
Coming home, baby.
Till I get to you.
Come on.
Till I get to you. You're
Coming home, baby. I'm coming home to you, St. Thomas, baby. Come on, we're gonna see another. St. Thomas, baby, we're gonna get another. Love my city, we're gonna see another. We're gonna get another. RC, baby, we're gonna see another. AKA Rail City. Hashtag St. Thomas Proud. Get another. That's how it is, baby. And we out.
There you go. That's how it is.
A lot of individuals were like, holy shoot, who the heck is this dude? This dude is singing about how great this city is. But at the same time, a few years ago, you know, I was hearing that this city was trash, but this guy saying this city is the best. Like, what's going on? You had this kid, you know, you ain't never seen this kid before. All of a sudden, you know, and this kid is coming from bigger cities. This kid is coming from Toronto, and a lot of individuals that were hating on the city, they wanted to go and move to Toronto, right? They wanted to move to Toronto or the bigger cities like New York, you know, places like that, Vancouver. But you had a guy coming from these particular major cities that people want to go to, and he's like, no, I want to come to this city because I see a future. I see how beautiful this city is. So I guess it probably was a little confusing to. So you're saying St. Thomas was a spot back in the day, eh?
Yeah, man, like, you gotta look back in, like, the 40s, 50s, when the railway was, like, the biggest industry in the world. St. Thomas was the railway city capital of Canada.
Correct.
So basically for North America, this was the place that was pushing like the whole industry. Like Capone had stuff coming through here. Winston Churchill was down here all the time. We had Colonel Talbot. St. Thomas was basically streets of gold. Like people would be here. Like there was a lot of money going through just after the war.
Yeah.
Then they would take trains to port, and like if you look at pictures from Port Stanley back in the day, it was like the biggest, hottest party spot ever, and it's so close. That's why we have that railway museum down there, and that little station where they want to set up so that people can take trains to port. It's kind of paying homage to what would happen back then. So you look at all these pictures, like St. Thomas was insane back in the day. They were, it almost felt like it was like the heart of the industry that was the most important thing to like Western society at the time.
One day, I said to myself, okay, I want to make a real change, you know? I wrote a song, it motivated some people, but I want to make a real change in this city. And what should I do? No word of a lie. I woke up the very next day and I was like, I'm gonna run for mayor.
Hello and welcome to our entertainment news update. I'm Andy Zajac. In the news today, he's known as Malichi.
Cheddar, 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 cheddar.
That's what I'm talking about. You don't have to scream. Just talk to the people. Just talk to the people. That's what I'm talking about. You got it. Oh yeah.
In a race with established politicians, a relatively new resident to St. Thomas believes he can bring a youthful and passionate voice forward. Merrick Sutherland introduces us tonight to a candidate some may say is unconventional and inexperienced, but he says he is exactly what St. Thomas needs.
Daddy, are you going to be a new male?
Malichi Malay has been a musician for over 20 years, and 3 years ago his tour bus took a wrong turn on Highbury on his way to a gig in London. He ended up in St. Thomas. It was a life-changing mistake.
The amount of love and interaction and friendly atmosphere was like, it was so overwhelming that I was like, yo, this is the place, man. This is the place. And literally sold the house, not even a couple weeks later. I was on my way to St. Thomas.
And since that time, he's made videos, songs, and has spread his love for St. T everywhere he travels.
It's like amazing, man. This dude invited me for biscuits inside, you know what I mean? Like, this don't happen, man. We're dodging bullets, and then this dude the next day is inviting us for biscuits, you know what I mean?
Malay's passion for his adopted city is clear, but he says there has been some criticism about him jumping right into the mayor's race instead of working his way up through council. Former mayor and MPP Steve Peters says that's nonsense.
No, there's not. I think all one has to do is look up the road to the City of London and seeing a number of individuals running for mayor right now that have never held elective office.
It is the traditional David versus Goliath story, running against current mayor Heather Jackson, longtime MP Joe Preston, and current councillor Steve Wookie. But his platform of supporting small businesses, improving transit, and along with his ability to connect to a younger voter, well, may strike a chord with the electorate.
If you can get new voters, like that's going to be the key to it in this election, is any of those candidates has to draw new people out to get behind them and support them.
There is still another week until the deadline for candidates to announce they are running, so we may see one or two more enter the race. But this is the first time since 1974 that 4 people have vied for the mayor's office in what is turning out to be another interesting storyline in our region for election night come October. Merrick Sutherland, CTV News, St. Thomas.
The oldest commissioned vessel in the run.
we heard this story. A couple people asked us, have you heard about this guy who is running for mayor of St. Thomas? He's a rapper, and he got lost, ended up in St. Thomas, fell in love with the city, and now he wants to be the mayor. We said, no, we don't know anything about this guy, but we want to. His name is Malichi Malay, and he's in studio with us. Good morning, Malichi.
Good morning. How you guys doing, man?
And what is it about St. Thomas, besides the people? What is it that you fell in love with when it comes to the town?
You know what it is? St. Thomas, to me, it is the most untapped potential city on the planet. Because right now it's just riding on what, it's just riding on what it has right now, but it hasn't been tapped. So if you actually tap all the talents and tap everything that St. Thomas has to offer, I think it could be the one of the top cities in the world, man.
Remember when, like a year ago, there was a travel agency or something that said St. Thomas had the best downtown in Canada, and we were like, wait, what?
Yes. I'm telling you guys,
What is there to do in downtown St. Thomas, Malichi?
What is there to do? You know what? Not that much right now.
But it's untapped.
But it's untapped.
And you want to tap that. Malichi Malay wants to be mayor of St. Thomas. And are you ready to give us a little bit of what you got in your head?
Yo, this Malichi Malay is that kid from Rexdale. I graduated from the streets from Queens to Parkdale. And if you want to really know how we all get down, I'd rather die than quit. You ain't keeping me down. It's like I'm crazy. I bet you I will not lose. Might as well run for mayor and make you choose. For some of y'all, that's scary as hell. This rap dude running your city who idols Diddy, the Jay-Z, or Saint T. He thinks he is? Nah, I'm just a kid who loves this city. I'm just a kid with guts like Fitty. I'm just a kid who appreciates life. So if you don't step aside, let me appreciate mine. For a long time, I was born with greatness. So this path that I'm on is walked, I'm fearless. The truth is I was meant to do it. When I ended up in St. T, accidentally, I sold the crib from the T.O. So now go, pack the fam up. We are gonna rise up. And all the stereotypes, we are gonna mash up. Well, I promise you this, I'm the only real one in the electional biz. And if you wanna really know who St. Thomas proud, it's Malichi Malay. I wrote St. Thomas proud.
We need to just remind the other St. Thomas mayoral candidates, if they would like to come on the Taz Show and rap about how much they love their city, we are willing to give equal time to Joe Preston, Steve Wookie, and current mayor Heather Jackson. Come on in here and spit some hot fire just like Malichi did. Nice to meet you, man. Good luck with your run for mayor of St. Thomas.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
6 coming in minutes. The Taz Show on FM 96.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you very much, man. On top of being very optimistic about everything in life, right? I wasn't stupid, right? I knew the chances of me being mayor was next to nothing. And it was based on the fact that the people I was running against, like for example, Heather, which she was the mayor at that particular time, she was mayor for 8 years. You know what I mean? You got Steve Wookie that was on city council, and at that time, I believe, got voted in with over 5,000 votes, right? Which is pretty huge for a small city. And then on top of that, you had a former MP in Joe Preston that was doing his thing for over 10 years. So me being a kid from the hood, do I honestly believe I had a shot? The answer is no. I didn't think I had a shot. I knew I did not have it. I knew my chances of winning were probably 0 or less than 0. But I didn't care, right? Because I said to myself, you know what? Realistically, I probably have a 0 shot of winning, but I know I could influence how the election is going to go. Meaning to say that what I brought to the forefront of that election and my platform was things the city needed. It's almost like it was things that the city was crying out for, but I had to make sure these things were at the forefront of this election, like the transit system, Right now, we're getting a brand new transit system.
You know, the government invested over at one point, I believe, $8 million for a brand new transit system. I was advocating for funding back to the youth programs. I was advocating for mental health. I was also advocating for affordable housing. So these were the issues I believe at that particular time were keeping St. Thomas stagnant, you know? And you know what, like, and as the debates kept on going and going and going, you could definitely see the whole energy of the election started switching to these particular platforms, whether it be the transit system, whether it be the mental health, whether it be affordable housing, right? And I'm not saying I was the sole cause of it. I'm not. So right there alone, just for people to be talking about transit, job creation, affordable housing, like, to me, that I won already. You know, like, that was the main goal. Joe Preston ended up winning, and I believe Joe Preston is an amazing mayor, and I hope he wins for many more terms as long as he wants to run. Because with Joe Preston, you know, you got somebody that actually understood small businesses. He had the connections from his previous terms in government to actually make things happen. You know, he understood what it would take for this city to go from A to Z. And you know, and yeah, I did lose the election, but you know, one of my last speeches, one of my last debates, what I said was, it doesn't really matter what happens in this election, because one or two things are gonna happen. Either I'm gonna win, and everything I was talking about is gonna be implemented, or I'm gonna lose, and it doesn't really matter. Everything I said everything I wanted to happen will be done. Will be done.
As soon as that railway industry died, it was like, okay, we just lost like our biggest thing, and we have no way to come back from that. So it was almost like we had our own mini Great Depression. What are people gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do for work? How can I come back from this? Okay, I'm gonna drink, you know? A lot of people started getting into that, and I just feel like we didn't really come back from that at the time, you know? And since then we've kind of had this negative stigma, but I promise you, back then, like, it was streets of gold in St. Thomas. Like, this place was popping off.
So do you see that coming back now, 2020?
I can see it coming back. I think it's going to take some work and some collective minds and some creative ideas. But basically, if there was a way to make this place a commodity, even if it was just for like creativity and making something out of nothing that can put this place on the map, St. Thomas could have a real fighting chance at becoming something awesome again, which it is. It's still an awesome place. There are amazing people here with a lot of amazing talents, but a lot of them don't see that potential, and then they start falling into the stuff that has, you know, the categories of negative stigma. They need to just realize their potential, and we all just kind of need to work together to make our community the greatest place.
Now, your background is just fascinating.
Yes.
So let's just go through it quickly.
Okay.
So just tell me, you came to this country from Uganda, and then just go from there.
Yes, I came to this country from Uganda. We came as endangered refugees. There was, you know, crazy amount of war coming, and we actually were able to get a green card to Canada. And the fact that I came to Canada, and it's the first time in my life where it's like, you know, I was able to have a couple of meals a day, You know what I mean? That was like, and then on top of that, just the love that I got, you know, the love that I got in this country. I fell in love with this country. I fell in love with this country because I know without a shadow of a doubt, if I was in Uganda for a couple more years, I'd be dead. I'd be completely dead. So I have a different type of passion for Canada. And so on top of that, whatever city I'm in, I know this city, it represents me being alive, you know? So I'm gonna rep for that city as if it was no other thing in this world, as if it was my last thing in the world that I have to defend. So every city I'm in, I look for all the great things about that city, and all the negative things. You know, I was in places, I lived in places where you cannot match that negativity to what this is. So anything that people may perceive as negative or not, you know, the greatest things in life, is actually I'm not trying to diminish their experiences, but taking into consideration on a global scale, Canada and majority of the cities in this country are amazing. You know what I mean? Like, you get that scenario,
yeah.
Or I'm walking over 12 bodies every single day just to go to school with missiles flying over my head. Which one you gonna take, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's not the majority here.
No.
You know what I mean? Those are bits and pieces here and there, but the majority of the city or the country is actually very amazing.
That's awesome.
So it's only fitting that we're so much smaller now since the era of the train has passed. But we were a huge, big deal a long time ago, and I think it's going to take a lot to get us back to that. I don't think we can. I think we're more of a agrarian society now. We've got farmers, and I mean the Shaw's Dairy Store started here. We still have Shaw's Ice Cream. These families, when they came here, they stayed, and they built the city. St. Thomas is actually named because the six original St. Thomas residents got together and decided to call it St. Thomas for no other reason. It sounded very churchy, so they thought that's a really nice, elegant name. We'll call it St. Thomas. We're not named after a saint, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Some of the anniversary newspapers will give it great detail. I mean, we're not just about killing jumbo here. We were the train center of Canada, of North America. There was nobody bigger than us.
So what do you think it would take for this city to get back to its original roots?
Well, first of all, we'd have to find another industry or another economic viability that would create this enormous amount of inflow. No, I think that St. Thomas needs to be comfortable in its own skin. I don't think we need to try and build skyscrapers. I mean, we could. London can't build skyscrapers because they're in a prehistoric lake bed. But St. Thomas, we can easily build skyscrapers. But is that what we want? Do we want to focus on the future?
Yeah.
Or can we bring the past with us? You know, can we bring jumbo along for the ride? You know, can we entice people to come to St. Thomas purely because of the historical significance? Or do we need something else to draw them here? And I think that's where we have to figure out for ourselves. I mean, it's not just about factories replacing trains, or or movies replacing circuses. You know, those kinds of things. I think it means St. Thomas means a home, and I think we're cheaping out. We don't have to. I think we need to just go full force and take our culture and show it to the world.
So, but once again, St. Thomas is in my heart. You know, it's in my heart to the point, like I even got this thing tattooed on my arm. You know what I mean? Call me crazy or whatever, right? But see, it's like life is interesting. I don't look at life as a regular person. I look at life as purpose, right? Why are you here and what's your purpose in life? Why are you here and what's your purpose in life? You know? So I believe I'm in St. Thomas for a purpose. I believe all these accidents that happen, you know, it wasn't an accident. So let's do this, you know?
And we know COVID-19 is having a disastrous impact on the economy.
I'm terrified. I'm devastated. And I think that every small business owner is devastated. I can't sleep at night. I'm worried. I don't understand how we are supposed to get through the next month.
So, I'm pretty confident we're finished.
A Restaurants Canada survey today found the pandemic has resulted in the loss of more than 2/3 of the workforce in the food service sector, and that 1 in 10 restaurants has already closed permanently, while predicting another 18% will shut down within a month. It also predicts $7.7 billion in lost sales in the second quarter in Ontario alone.
Had to go into Home Hardware, but I guess not, man. Look at this lineup. This is outside the store. You know? And for a lineup to be this big, the way it's going is that, you know, for every 1 or 2 people that come out, one or two people come in. And it's kind of messed up, though, because it's like, you know, St. Thomas just was on the verge of making a humongous comeback from all the factories leaving, you know. Downtown was looking promising, everything was looking amazing, and COVID-19 happens, and, you know, and just like how the factories left, we were down and out, but we kept on pushing. I think we're gonna do the exact same thing with COVID-19. You know, this hasn't happened for a long time, but you got gas at 66 cents. That's crazy, man. I think the last time I ever seen something like this was probably in the early 90s. So, you know, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how the economy's gonna transform right now, but it's everybody's taking a hit. Everybody's taking a hit. Now, it took over about 10 years for a lot of retail chains to come inside St. Thomas. And just about the time where everything's on the up and up, you know, everything's at a standstill right now, you know. There are a couple construction workers still working right here. As you can see, the PetSmart over here. Supposed to be a Winners over here as well, but, you know, who knows what's gonna happen after the COVID-19, you know what I mean? It's over. Like, who knows if all these chains gonna bail out, or, you know, I don't know if this even, people are gonna have money to even shop here, you know. So we'll see. We'll see, hopefully not, but once again, I have a lot of faith in St. Thomas, you know, and I definitely think we could revamp from this and just make a comeback from this as well. I just wanted to be like Superman, you know what I mean? Yeah. When I was a child, I always seen Superman. There ain't nothing to touch him, you know what I mean? And I just wanted one single day, if I could feel like Superman, just for that one day. Because I've been through all this stuff. I've been through all the craziness. I wanted to jump off the building. I wanted to fly. I wanted to make sure that everybody could see me fly.
Good morning, St. Thomas. It's Samantha Wakefield for 94.1 My FM. As you can hear, there's a ton of sirens going on. We are currently live at the St. Thomas Elgin General Hospital Foundation with our St. Thomas Police Service and members of the Elmer Police Services as they salute all of our frontline workers at our hospital during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Vaccines typically take years to develop, but there's reasons to be hopeful that we could have a vaccine against the coronavirus pandemic in record time.
What do you love about St. Thomas? School.
A small step towards a possible coronavirus breakthrough.
Don't worry, don't cry. Hey, hey, don't worry, don't cry. You could never imagine my fingers are made from dirt.
And I was created out of the dust of the earth. And I work like able to keep the food stable. Pay for the cable, rock your cradle, touch your navel. Baby mothers are prenatal and times are hard. Gotta hold on to your church.
It was intense, but it was fine.
I'm helping people change their lives. Right, the goal is to get people to change their lives.
Man, thank you so much, man.
In Washington state today, U.S. researchers tested the first experimental coronavirus vaccine.
We expect a very challenging time, but a temporary time.
In the struggle, always been forced to hustle, blessing like crabs in a barrel. Instead, we reppin' Bethel. It's time to claim your name. You got royal.
Scientists in Pennsylvania today revealing what they're calling a potential vaccine.
Writing this letter, confessing the truth.
Have you seen homeless people on the street?
Yes.
And how did that make you feel?
Sad. And it's kind of scary not having anyone on your side.
And this emergency aid package, totaling $107 billion, is designed to help individuals and businesses.
I'm sorry, Jesus. I know I'm better than that. I should have wrote this acapella, but my vocal went flat. Flat.
Don't worry, don't cry.
St. Thomas proud, baby.
Don't worry, don't cry. Don't worry, don't A man-child is born. Emmanuel came among us and preached in the ghetto as people flocked in numbers. The expressed image of his pops, known to the cops with more knowledge than barber shops.
Forget the fade, turn up the volume, I'm vibing this track. Feed on the stress alone will push your hairline back. Once I sit back, reminisce the days that I hear, I felt trapped, sometimes addicted to fear.
From the beginning, I perceived it was Adam and Eve. The serpent deceived, and I believed the mystery was once hidden. Are we forgiven? Y'all ain't hear me? These thug kids are not kidding.
You're a thug, right? Says you stand for the
Once you
truth.
start feeling better about yourself, you're going to start being succeeding in life.
We look now at a COVID-19 success story.
Then I dread to claim it's bacon and pork. So what?
Are you excited?
Spend this time here. Let's all touch gloves.
Our hospital is becoming world class. I think we can still recognize the part we played in the industrialization of North America.
Look at my here and now, cause I won't be here too long. I'm not walking by what I see, but it's my faith that keeps me strong. All my good days, my bad days.
Been a major breakthrough in the push to develop a vaccine for the deadly coronavirus.
Who you were born to be, you would feel the words of the
One person that probably loves St. Thomas more than me. And this it is right here, man. We got my homeboy right here, Joe Preston. Like I'm talking about, which mayor just pops in and out just to make sure the city is hot, the city's on lock.
Don't worry, don't cry. Don't worry, don't cry.
Everything happens for a reason, you know. Sometimes the scenarios that seem like the worst are scenarios that are designed for you to discover who you really are.
Help is on the way.
So here's some advice. If you still got a roof over your head, thank God. If you can move your eyes like this, thank God. If you still got food in your stomach, thank God. If you got people that love you like God loves you, thank God. Well, nobody can love you like God loves you, but y'all know what I mean, right?
An incredible day, an incredible show of support for everyone here in our community. Thank you to all of the emergency responders, our St. Thomas Police Service, and of course our frontline workers at our hospital.